Let us begin with this stotra. Yashya smarana matrena janma samsara bandhanat vimuchyate namastashmai Vishnave Prabha Vishnave. We are studying the Kapilopadesha. Kapila is the son and Upadesha, advice, and he is giving the advice to his mother. So that is very important. Usually the mother teaches. Now the son, who was very young even, so he was teaching the mother. And what? The highest philosophy. Afterwards, that philosophy became the Samkhya philosophy. Samkhya is a knowledge. So that philosophy of knowledge. And what is that philosophy of knowledge? We are studying for last few months. Every month, first Saturday morning we meet. So progress is little slow and naturally. And because we are entering into the depth of the philosophy, it will take little time to understand. The last month we have discussed the Samkhya's doctrine of Prakriti. Samkhya is very famous about the Prakriti and Purusha. The Purusha is a literally male, Prakriti literally female. Then now the Purusha of the Samkhya is completely separate. We will come to that because the mother will ask that, then the Kapila will explain about the Purusha. Now the Prakriti. Prakriti is the source of creation. So that last time we were discussing, Prakriti is also known as Sat Karya Bhada. Doctrine of Prakriti is Sat Karya Bhada. The Sat Karya Bhada, that this theory of causation, it has two different forms. One is the Parinama Bhada and Vivarta Bhada. These are all very important things for the Hindu philosophy. Because the Parinama Bhada and Vivarta Bhada, the question is, this creation that we see, we can touch, we can smell, we can taste, all these is the complete the change from the source, or it is apparent? Why this question? Because we have to go back to the source to get the joy, the happiness, the eternity. That is the ultimate goal. Each and every being, and the most manifested being is the human being, we know that our goal is happiness, our goal is joy, our goal is, sometimes we say, pleasure. And we get it to some extent from the external thing. Now outside it is so warm, so hot, but inside it is cool. And because of the AC, the air-conditioned machine and all that, we are getting the comfort in the body physically. But this is not permanent. Any time it can stop. And then now the machine is not functioning, then what to do? This may happen. So similarly, we are hungry, we go and we get a nice, good food and we are very happy. And that will be also temporary. And that is the reason we always go for something where we can get some permanent thing. And we think that we will have some knowledge and we'll get a job and we'll earn money and some position in the society and we'll be happy. Again we find now we are not happy. It goes on. So this chasing for happiness is going on. Now the philosophy comes and says, you know why you are searching for happiness? Eternity. We like to live eternally. We don't like to die. Why? Sat Karya Bhada. The cause and the effect. What is the effect? We. What is the cause? The God. And God is eternal, so we don't like to die. The material out of which it has been created, it is having those potentialities, qualities. To simplify it, we can say the sugar, we are now putting in the water and warming it and making a syrup And out of that syrup, whatever we are making, it is becoming sweet. Why? Because of sugar. Now, if it is just opposite, it is salt, it will be salty. So, we don't like to die. That means the material out of which we have been created. No one wants to die, even the ant. As that tiny little, what is that life? Even then, he'll say, no, I like to enjoy, I like to be here. An ant is happy if it gets something sweet. So like that, each and every one of us, we like to survive and we like to get the joy. Why? Satkarya Bhada. So how it goes? That is called Hinduism. It's just based on science. They will examine, they will taste, and then they will conclude. Not that somebody said from somewhere, and then we accept, and you must have to accept. It is nothing like that. And the Kapila, he is the founder of this, Satkarya Bhada. Okay, now the God has created us. Now tell us, is it permanent creation or temporary creation? The permanent creation is called Parinama Bhada. Bhada means theory. And Parinama means complete transformation, is a real transformation. Like milk become yogurt. And the yogurt can never become milk again. It can never go back. Look at it. So when the milk, it is becoming yogurt, the yogurt is having the potentiality of the milk, but it cannot go back to the original source. And that is the problem. If we are completely separate from the original, we can never ever become happy or eternal. Then another philosophy came, the Shankaracharya. He said, no, even the Kapila also said, there are two, and it says, Bibhartavada, the Sanskrit word, Bibharta, Parinama and Bibharta. Parinama, complete transformation. Some people, they accept that. These dualities, all those who are worshipping, like the ISKCON and all that, they're all dual. The Islam, the Christianity, the Judaism, a lot of Hinduism, they think the God is separate and we are separate. We can never become God. We can go close to God. That's why the conception of heaven. The God will be there, we'll be living over there, there is no problem of food or the thirst, nothing is there, we are always happy. That conception they always. But it cannot be. Duality means suffering. The moment you are two, husband and wife, they love each other so much, even then, there will be problem. And one of our Swamiji, because that we are young age, they left the hearth and home, they don't know the relation. He was very excited, why the husband should fight with the wife. Then I told him, don't enter into that. We sometimes, because sometimes they go for, in India it is the monks, they go to householders and house to house for donation. It's not like America, the fundraising. There will be a program, function, not like that. They individually, they will go knock the door, can you please give me some help? And they and he went and he saw that they are having some hot exchanges and shouting and each other. And he entered in, hey, why you that is not our, they will be all right after some time. That is also a part of the love. So don't enter into that. So that is a different way it goes. So this is so temporary. Even the boy was ready to kill himself if he is not getting that particular lady or the girl. But afterwards again he goes again. Why this? Because we are not completely satisfied. So understanding this, analyzing this, why we are not fully satisfied. I wanted to become king, I became king. Then why this? Or why I am not happy then? So this, after again and again analyzing, actually this world is created in this way that will never become permanent. it is just like that. It can never become permanent. So obviously, if you are expecting permanent effect out of it, it is a mistake. So if you accept the world, it is constantly temporary, and you know that this is temporary, it is okay. Otherwise, you are going to suffer. But by nature, we want permanent effect. Why? Because the God is permanent, God is eternal, God has created us, and obviously all those qualities. So they say, no, it is not real creation. The God has created, but as if He has created, apparent transformation. It's like, now there was a rope, and it was little dark, that place. It was not very clear. But the person saw that rope, as if a snake, it is lying on the, and he started shouting, snake, snake. And it was a rope. It never became snake. It was not snake. But for me, it became snake because I thought it is a snake. It is just like that. The rope, for me, for that period of time, transformed as snake. Then someone came with the torch and I know where is that? This is the snake only. And then again. So Guru comes and says, why you are afraid? Then, okay. This is the way they are analyzing. So transformation, permanent or temporary. A group of people, they say it is permanent. A group of people say, no, it is cannot. Why? Because if it is permanent transformation, we can never become God. We have to be God. Swami Vivekananda said, you were animals, that means very selfish. You used to survive only for yourself. Now you have become man, that means considerate, thinking about others. Now you have to become God, that is full of love. God is full of love. God is eternal, and this is the way they are explaining. Now, it is that Shamkha view that it is completely changed. Samkhyas, they say like that, a complete change. But Vedanta say no, it is apparent change. Prakriti is the first cause of all things. Now, the creation out of what? Prakriti. Now, Prakriti is a word that Kapila Muni is using, Prakriti. And then Prakriti and the Vedanta will say Maya. But Prakriti and Maya a little different, but Prakriti. Now, the Prakriti creates subtle products like the mind. At the same time, gross things like the earth and everything, stone and all that. So both subtle and the other things like the gross things are done by the Prakriti. Now the mind and intellect is very powerful. It evolves and dissolves in the world of cyclic order. Mind is very powerful. Someone decided that I am going to do it and he really can do that. So there was a talk, I had to say no because I don't have time. From India, they wanted to, the students group, they wanted to learn about that. Is it possible to be successful just by mental strength? Swami Vivekananda said, yes, it is possible. You can do anything. You can become anything. Just if you resolve that I am going to be God, and you can become God. And if it is not, then the existence of God is doubtful. If I cannot myself become God, the existence of God will be doubtful. I must have that. So this is also science. Sometimes they say, you cannot think of becoming God. You cannot. It is blasphemy. The blasphemy that you are thinking you can become God. God is always pure and all that. Then why this? I can, of course, why not? So argument goes like that. So it is say, the proof of Prakriti. Now, how can I accept that there is Prakriti? Now, I think you remember the Prakriti means it is having three gunas, Sattva, Raja and Tama, right? The Sattva, good, Raja, mixture of good and bad, Tama, bad. There's a small Sanskrit word, Sattva, Raja and Tama. And if you can remember, all good Sattva, all bad Tama, and in between. Now the mixture, if the Sattva and Raja and Tama is not mixing, then there is no creation. That is called another Sanskrit word, Pralaya. Pralaya means dissolution, nothing will remain. So the car can move when there is a friction. If there is no friction with the road, then it won't move, because it will just go on skidding. The friction is necessary. That similarly, the good and the mixture of good and bad, when these three combine, permutation and combination, sometimes this is super powerful and this is like that, it goes on, all changes. Hindus, they say the whole creation has been having 4 parts. And what are the 4 parts? They say Satya Yuga, they say, is a long period of time, Yuga. It is Satya Yuga, then Dwapar Yuga, Treta, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. Now Satya Yuga means that time God was creating. All were very good people. Naturally, God is the creating that time, and He was creating out of His own mind. It was no physical, just He was thinking and that thing was coming. As the Christians, they say, there was no light. The God said, let there be light, and there was light. It is possible. Just He is creating out of His own thought. So this is the way, if you are thinking, then we can understand. Satya Yuga. See, there is no avatara, no incarnation of God, because all people are good people. So you don't need to teach them. Now then came Treta Yuga. The Rajaguna is little more, 50-50 we can say. 50% good people, 50% bad people. There was a confusion what to do and what not to do. They were highly educated people, intelligent people. Ravana, having 10 heads. It doesn't mean, then Hindus, they always give the symbol, the 10 heads. It is not actually 10 heads. He could think like 10 people. If the 10 people together means one person, then he was so intelligent, so knowledgeable person, so powerful person, but egoistic person. Why? Because Tama was more, Raja was more. And like that, Bali, another character at that time. So the God came as Sri Ramachandra. Didn't do much, of course. He just killed that one person and that was over. But the next came, Satya, Treta, Dwapara. Dwapara means Krishna. And that time, the bad people were more. So Krishna had to work right from his childhood days. All through punishing those and then supporting good people. Why? Because it was changing. And then finally came Kali, this present age. And what is the symbol of Kali? Falsehood. Everywhere people, they tell lies. And they take pride telling lies. They'll be doing some bad things and then they will deny. And because of that, the lawyers are thriving. They are having good business. Because of these people constantly complaining each other and they are going to the court and going on. Why so much? Because the Kali. And what is the symbol of Kali? Falsehood. Again, another thing, the Kali goes to the body. They will never go to the spirit, they go to the body. So only the enjoyment of the body. They have drinks and merry making and all this. This is all symbol of Kali. We belong to that. So naturally all these things come to us. And some of us, we are trying our best to go out of it. Tremendous force, they're dragging you down. But somehow you are going on swimming. And when you are trying hard that I don't want to go, I don't want to like those things, then a helping hand will come. And that is God. God will say, oh, he is trying, she is trying, let me help. He will take you out. So that the flow of fire that is going to burn everything. The Kali means suffering. Look at people, even the young children, they are taking drugs and dying. So much of suffering and suffering and suffering. But still we don't know how to go out of it. So one person came to me. He is a young man. He told, what is your profession? I counsel. Counsel to whom? The drug addict people. Okay. Then what is your problem? Now, when I was counseling, I have become drug addict. Because so many people coming to me and listening to their stories and all that, when I go to sleep and every time that thought goes on, I told, why not try? What is that? And now I am myself a drug addict. I have come to you, please save me. So this is, I told you, you have to help yourself. No one can. Because once you say that I am going to give away, you give away. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he was having some physical problem. The doctor said, only 1 glass of milk, that should be your food, no water. And you can imagine the Indian summer, and no drop of water, only 1 glass of milk for the whole day. And he said, oh, okay, if you say that I will be all right, I will. And he stopped drinking water, taking food. Just say, I can, you can. So you say that I am not going to take it, maybe you have to tie yourself down for 3, 4 days, 5 days. And when slowly body mechanism, then it will go away, everything will be all right. And you have to leave the association. That is also very important. Because association takes us over there. The moment you see that, again the mind will say, why not try? So we have to be careful. So who is helping me? My mind. But how? Through buddhi. Buddhi means the real intellect. And that is God's blessings. When you talk about God's blessings, we don't understand. We think God will come down and in the night suddenly I will wake up and God is standing. And immediately I take out from under the pillow the whole list. These are the things. No, it is not like that. The God will say, put on the light because I cannot read your list. All these wonderful stories. And then the dream breaks and you get up and, oh my God, where is God? And this is nothing. The God's blessing comes through buddhi. Buddhi yogam dadam maham. In Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, whom I love, the God, he says, whom I love, I give him real buddhi, determinative faculty. And he can understand what is good and what is bad. And those who are not loving me, praying to me, trying to come to me, I say, okay, enjoy. And kamashmi bharatashabha. Kama means the desire. That I give to them. Oh, enjoy. And enjoy means suffering. Tremendous suffering. They will go on drinking and then they will damage their liver and all that, and then again to the doctor, and it goes on like that. One drunkard, he loves to drink a lot. Then he was dying, but he did some good work. So the God appeared and said, hey, this time you have to die, but next life again you will come. What do you want from me? Good work that you have done, for that I like to give you something, some gift. He said, see, next life, if you don't give me the teeth, it's okay. But give me 4 or 5 livers so that I can drink. So when you become addicted, it becomes really, really difficult to go out of it. Why addiction? Love. And why I love that bad thing? Delusion. I start thinking that this is really good. The camels, when they eat the thorny bushes, and they actually, the thorns are pricking in their the teeth and all that, and the blood is coming out of its own mouth. And he is thinking, oh, I am enjoying, it's tasty. That is the camel's way of eating. So one should, that is called delusion. That which is so bad, but we think it is so good. We think so strongly and we suffer. Now, what is the proof of the Prakriti? All objects, subtle or gross, are limited and dependent on each other. There must be an unlimited and independent cause for their existence. That is Prakriti. Now, all the objects are depending on each other. So there must be something which is independent and supporting them to stand. And that is called Prakriti. The Prakriti, how to prove the Prakriti, it is there. We cannot go and see. But seeing the action, we can. So that is called inference. There are proofs. How to prove? The direct proof. Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha is direct proof. I can see, I can touch, I can taste, I can smell. So all these things, direct proof. Another is inference. What is the inference? I don't see the air, but I can say the very strong wind is blowing. Why? By seeing that the leaves are moving and the trees are moving. And from distance, by seeing that, I can infer the strong wind is moving. Similarly, this is a part of the proof. What is the proof? Like this. You know that there was a judge, Calcutta High Court judge. I think so. So he told me one story. The one boy, he used to love a girl, but the girl was not having any connection with that boy. As in India, the marriage, the fathers and mother, they arranged her marriage. It was decided, date was announced. Naturally, neighbors came to know that this boy became angry. And one day, it was a deserted road, and she came out, crossed the road, went to a shop to purchase something. Taking that opportunity, the boy, when she was crossing back, threw the acid on her face. And she lost both the eyes, and it was in the court. That boy was arrested. And then, naturally the advocate in favor of that boy, convict, was telling that she can't see and she can't understand actually who threw. Why unnecessarily blaming? So this way he was giving the argument, and very strong argument. Then the judge, he understood, and he told, okay, I will see. Then he sent his peon to that girl and said, do you know me? The girl heard and said, no, sir, I don't. Then he asked the one advocate, please go and ask her the same question. The advocate went and said, do you know me? She heard, no, sir, I don't. Another advocate of the opposition party, you also go and ask. I don't know you. Then they asked that boy. The boy, when he saw the three people and she denied, couldn't recognize, hey, you go and ask the same question. And that the convict went before the girl and said, do you know me? Sir, this is the boy. This is the person. And because she could recognize the voice. So that is also proof. And the proof in the court of law. Inference. Because the voice I recognize. And the way he speaks, I recognize. So immediately that was taken as an evidence, and the boy was punished. So this is called evidence, and that evidence is, the proof is inference. And what is this inference? Everything is depending on something. Nothing is independent. Look at the earth, look at the water, look at the air, look at the light. Everything is depending on each other. Now, there must be something which is holding everything. And sometimes in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord said, you know how the God is, how will the proof is God, proof of God? That if you see the garland as the flowers, individual flowers, are all this hanging at the individual? No. There is a thread that passes through the flower. That thread is me. People can't see the thread. They see only the flowers are hanging. It's a beautiful garland. But if that thread is not there, how the individual flowers will be there tied? I, the God, is like that. I am existing in everything. Similarly, it says the Prakriti having three gunas, and these three gunas are holding all this together. Second evidence, everything in this world have some common characters which can produce pain, pleasure, indifference. Look at it. Pain, pleasure, and indifference, but the same thing to different. How it is? They must have a common cause, and that is Prakriti. The Prakriti will create this. Now they will give the example afterwards, they will give the example. At the time of the destruction, the physical elements resolve to atom to energy, and so on it goes, changing till it resolved into unmanifested eternal Prakriti, also known as Pradhana or Abhyakta, the root cause of the world. Now, Prakriti is made of three gunas. We are discussing the Prakriti because the mother asked about what is Prakriti, how we will understand. Because we are all, right from our birth, we see things, we hear things, we touch things, and that way we are associated with this. And we can understand this much. But the moment you say these are all false, there is something which is permanent and that is the real, it becomes difficult for us to understand even. Forget about realization. Very difficult. So they started telling the God has a form. The God has no form. God can never have a form. But go to the Hindu temple, so many forms. So many. And jokingly I say, if someone goes in the morning and bows down before all gods and goddesses, the morning exercise will be over. Stand up and go down and like that. So many gods and goddesses. But actually Hindus are not worshipping. One American lady came to me and said, I am wondering, how come there are so many gods and goddesses, but they are not fighting? I told that's because we don't consider those as God. We take those as a help to reach to God. When we look at the map, we don't take that map as that place. We take the help of the map to reach to that place. Then when we are putting in nowadays the GPS, and the GPS will show you a road like this, or this is your destination. Oh, I have reached. Not like that. We have to go, and then only. And sometimes GPS makes confused you and take you somewhere else. So like that, it is. You have to understand, it is not the map, but it is and these gods that we see, the Ramachandra and the Durga and the Kali, the Ganesha, and so many of them are there. One after another names, different forms. But we go, we worship, but they are not real God. Through them, we try to reach to the ultimate. What is that ultimate? That is consciousness. And if we are not reaching to the consciousness, then it is limited. You can go over there, but your joy, your happiness, and your realization will be limited. So ultimately you have to reach that. And Prakriti, here again come back to Prakriti, three gunas. What are the gunas? Sattva, Raja, and Tama. These gunas constitute elements, and they come into how the theory of cause and effect. Pleasure, pain, and indifference. They say a rose. When a young man offering a rose to a young lady, that makes the lady happy. But if you offer that rose to a dead person or person who is going to die, it will be painful for him. Hey, I'm going to die and now you're doing it like that. And indifferent for the gardener who is selling that. That person, he is a gardener, he grew up those roses, he wants to sell it. Whether you offer to a dead body or offer to a young lady, it doesn't matter to him. So look at it. Every day we are experiencing that. And this is the quality of the Prakriti. The Prakriti, it is not that somebody is telling and I am accepting. I am judging. And that is why when they talk about the Hinduism actually is a science. No one has created. It has been the judges that experienced, then afterwards they came into conclusion. The one person was Kapila, and he analyzed all this. He said, look at it, the three qualities are there. And these three qualities manifested as pleasure, pain, and indifference. And the pleasure, pain, indifference were one thing. Now, the victory of the war is a pleasure for the victor, after the joy for them, but it is a pain for the vanquished, but indifferent for the third party. The war is going on between Russia and Ukraine. It is Russia and Ukraine. I don't know who is having but main powerful is Russia, so they are enjoying, and the suffering is the Ukraine. But there are many countries that they're indifferent. Oh, it is your problem. We are not going to be involved into it. The same action, three different causes. How it comes? Because of Sattva, Raja, Tama. So this is the way, if we can understand, the relation among the three constitute the world. And especially the characteristics of the gunas are constantly changing. Another, we are proving the Prakriti. The Prakriti, it constitutes these three. The same thing, three different actions: pleasure, pain, and indifference. And Prakriti is constantly changing. It is never ever static. Constant changes. And this constant changes is called, how it changes? Again, the two different types. One is Virupa Parinama. Parinama means change. Virupa Parinama and Swarupa. Heterogeneous changes. That is called Srishti, or the creation. The Prakriti, when it is changing, and changing in the heterogeneous way, sometimes the good is powerful, 70-80%, and the energy, that is the Raja, and the bad things are less. So they are mixing like that. So the goes on. Sometimes we say, oh, he's a very good person. Why? Because Sattva is more. And sometimes the same person, it changes. And so why? Because the Tama is more. The one king, he wanted to have the picture of a god, how God looks. So he asked the royal painter, go and search for God and paint his picture and show me. Kings are like that. They will be thinking in that way. A medieval king that used to think, and who will ask him? He said it is not possible to paint the god. But anyway, the painter went out and he was searching and he found a young boy, so beautiful, so good looking, a divine looking person. So he told, can I take your picture? And then he drew the picture and came back and showed it to the king. King was very happy. So wonderful. Then after many years, suddenly king, he became old and he was thinking, oh my God, I will die and I have not done anything good. I will go to the devil. Then how devil looks? So he asked that man, hey, go out and meet the devil and paint his picture so that I can recognize devil and I will be careful about it. The same man went out and he was thinking where to go, how to find a devil, like this, like this. Suddenly he found that there was they threw some garbages and all that. A person is sitting over there, so ugly looking, so bad, everything, all the skins are peculiarly burned and all that. So, can I draw your picture? He said, okay. Then after he finished, he said, sir, do you remember nearly 40, 50 years before, you came to draw a picture of God? And yes, how do you know? Because I was that boy. I was that boy who was so good looking, but because of all these wrong actions, this is the condition. I lost everything. Now I survive on this. When the people, they are throwing the food, I am collecting and eating. So it always changes. World is always changing. And when we observe the changes, there must be something permanent. Otherwise, how can we understand the changes? So it says the changes are the characteristics of the Prakriti. But the changes are two types. One is called Virupa Parinama. Virupa, heterogeneous, the good, bad, and all mixture, and creation. And another is Swarupa Parinama. They remain as it is. Now there is rice, there is milk, and there is sugar. Not mixing, they're just containing there. And you cannot make the sweet that rice. And the Hindus are very fond of eating sweet rice. They'll be offering it to God, and they think it is a very holy food, and they like it. But what is that? Mixture of three things: rice, milk, and sugar. Now, if the three are containing separately, rice is sitting over here, milk is here, and the sugar, and there is no creation. And if you mix, then there will be the sweet milk, that sweet rice will be there. So the mixture means, it says, Virupa Parinama. Virupa Parinama, the mixture of three. And Swarupa Parinama, without mixture. This is the Prakriti, it goes. All these three gunas remained intact in the Swarupa. Can gunas of the Prakriti create itself? This is the last question of today's discussion. No, they cannot. So this is a very peculiar thing. The Prakriti cannot create in this way. Prakriti itself cannot. But in association with the Purusha, she can create. The Purusha, just as a sport, disturbs the equilibrium of the gunas of the Prakriti, and the creation starts. So Purusha means consciousness. And when the consciousness look at the Prakriti and gets interested, hey, what is it? There are three gunas are there, and what all these things are doing, it comes close to that. It never makes it goes to that. And the moment it comes, the desire comes. Looking at the Purusha, the desire comes. And in that desire, all this mixture start happening. And when this happening, the creation starts. The Purusha is not directly involved, but indirectly, because of its influence, things started. The Purusha, which is of the nature of Anadi, beginningless, Atma, it is consciousness, Nirguna, free from all the gunas, and superior to the Prakriti, can get involved with creation. Now I will read the Sanskrit verse, which is in the 2nd chapter, 5th verse of the Kapilopadesha. Gunaihi vichitra srijanim sarupa prakritim prajaha bilokka mumude sadya sa iha jnana guhaya. Observing this Prakriti, which is subtle and divine, along with its Sattva, Raja and Tama gunas, the jiva of the individual self, being deluded, identify itself with the Prakriti. Sometimes in our tradition, Hindu tradition, they say Purusha and Prakriti, male and female. And male are always interested because they can't understand the female. The why they are like this, why they are behaving like that, why the dress is, the Indian women's dress, there's so many, and they're very curious about it. So the boys are always curious about the girls, what they are doing like that. So, so it always happens, the one girl is to live in the second floor, I think, in the room. To see what are her dresses, 3 or 4 boys, they climbed on the opposite side, the tree. Now, they wanted to see what are the dresses that the lady is wearing. They are curious. So they climbed on the branch. When they climbed, they forgot that whether they will be able to come down or not. So they climbed. They wanted to see. They couldn't see, but when at the time of coming back, they were afraid. Then they were shouting, sitting over there, what is happening, how can we? They had to call the police department. They came with and then they helped them to come down and gave them some slaps. Why you went over there? So all these things happened. This out of curiosity, just curiosity. Exactly that way. Boys are always curious about the girls. And when they go close, and these things happen, creation. It says, same way, this Purusha, which is consciousness, it has nothing to do with the Prakriti. Not at all attached to. But it comes close to that. The moment it comes close to that, immediately Prakriti, the equilibrium, breaks. And that gets mixed, the Sattva, Raja, Tama, and creation comes. So this is the way the Kapila says. Through this imaginative identification, the actions of the gunas of the Prakriti give him a feeling that he is the doer and he is the agent. Now that consciousness, which is completely free, thinks that I am doing. Now we have to come back to our own body. What is this body? It's the mass of the bone and the marrows and all this. Then there is a mind, a subtle part. These are all gross. Then there is a subtle thing, mind. It can think. But the mind and the body cannot do any action if there is no consciousness. So when the consciousness is there, then we are living and we enjoy everything. When the consciousness goes out, then we are dead. Either they will bury or they will burn. So that is the way it happens. The body has not any importance. It is that consciousness. How the consciousness comes within this body? Because it is a jada. Jada means it's not conscious. So obviously it is a gross thing, the matter like the stone or the wood. When I die, whether you are putting the body in the fire or in the water, it doesn't matter to me because I am not there. So now if you bring a little fire near to me, I'll say, oh, what is it? It is so naturally, why these two different type of action? When I am living, I am afraid of fire. And when I am dead, I don't care about fire, whether you burn or not. How it is? It is not the body, it is the consciousness. So this is proof. And what is this consciousness? How can consciousness, which is all-pervading, go into a small little body? And the tiny little baby, like this much only. And it has a life. And how it entered into that? It is not actual again. The Vedanta will say it is a reflection on what? Buddhi. The next class I will give you the handout because it is very difficult to remember. With all the processes, how the things are coming step by step, I will give you a handout. I think I will remember it and print it and give it to you. And if you go through sometime, you will understand how wonderfully, systematically, the Kapila has given the explanation of the creation. The creation is always interesting, isn't it? And there was nothing. I ate some mango and threw that stone over there. And after some time I found there is a tree coming out from that. And then it becomes a tree. Then it started giving the mango again. So the creation is always very interesting. So those who are studying the agriculture, they are fascinated on that. How the little tiny seed and then slowly coming out. Nowadays, the beautiful flowers are coming up all over. There was nothing. It was all snow, beautiful green grass. It was all snow. Then where from they got the life? Life was there. For 6 months it was under the snow, still the life was there. It came up. So life is important. It mattered, the lives matter. So this is not that important than the life. But unfortunately we give more importance on the body than the life. And that is why we go to the gym, we can become very strong, six-pack and all that. Then they go with a gun and kill many people. Why? Because they don't understand the body has no value, whether you have six-pack or no. It doesn't matter at all. It is the life. So when we understand that, that is called philosophy. If the philosophy is clear, then the devilish person can become God. That's why the Lord Jesus said, "Blessed are those who are pure in heart, for they shall see God." But they are not sinners. They can see God. The moment you see God, you become God. And how it is possible? If you are having the purity, pure in heart. And what is that heart? Is it throbbing like this? Not that heart. It's the chinta. It is the thought. And thought can become purified when the philosophy is correct. The wrong philosophy, it mars the people. And correct philosophy, it elevates the people. That's all, because it is a thought. So today we will conclude over here, and then in the next day we will, again the mother is asking another question. See, as after listening all this, the mother may be a little confused. Mother of the Kapila. Her name is Devahuti. It's a beautiful name. Devahuti. And she is asking now, tell me, what is this Purusha? The Prakriti I have understood, okay, this. But if the Purusha was not there, there was no creation. If the creation was not there, there was no bondage. If the bondage was not there, there was no suffering. So why ultimately the Purusha has to come to near to the Prakriti and create it? What is it? And who is this Purusha? Please tell me about the Purusha. She is asking this question. We will listen to the answer to the Kapila, because it is very difficult to give the definition of Purusha, to explain about Purusha, because I am that. So if I say, suppose my name is Ishatmananda, so somebody comes and says, you are not Ishatmananda, and shall I start crying? If they say that you are not having the identity because I have lost my all identification, all those, the passport and all those things, so no, you are not. We are changing your name and identity, but I will know that I am that. No one, no force can force me to forget my identity. I know that this is my mother, this is my father, this is my society, this is my family. I am that. No one can change it. They may force it. Exactly that way, I am God. I am that consciousness. The moment you know that, no one can change you. And there will be no suffering. So this is the way the religion takes us to happiness and eternity. Not that eternally we will survive. No. We cannot. They misunderstood Lord Jesus. And they thought Lord Jesus is God and going to give them eternal life. And they were abusing him, saying, hey, what is this type of God you are? Son of God you are. You yourself cannot save yourself. He could, but he didn't to prove this body is not the main thing. It is the spirit. Thank you, friends. Thank you for listening. Yeah.
Swami, I have a small question. In the past, in one of your lectures, you mentioned that Hanumana was not a monkey, but it was a tribe.
It is tribe.
Yeah.
A human being.
Hanumana came in the time of Lord Ramchandra.
Yeah.
He's also shown sometimes in Lord Krishna's Kurukshetra story. So was he that, such a long life to go from one yoga to the other yoga? Or he was not a physical body, just like a Lord Shiva,
So that theory of Hanumana, that they say, what Swami Vivekananda said, Hanumana was a yogi and he developed the Ashtasiddhi. Except the human being, no one can control the mind. No animal can meditate. That they were showing one advertisement of meditation. One lady is meditating and her pet, the dog is also sitting like this. But dog is just imitating that the master told, hey, do sit like that. But dog cannot meditate. No animal can meditate. Only human being. So if the Hanumana was a monkey, as an animal, how could he develop that power? First. Second, if they were monkeys, all of them must have had that type of power. It was not. Only Hanumana. In the Ramayana, though it is not connected with this particular subject today we are discussing, it is the Ramayana, that when they went and came to know that the Sita is over there in the island, but you have to cross the ocean, how you will cross the ocean, then everybody was confused and they were thinking what will happen. Only the Jambuvana, I think, he went to the Hanumana because Jambuvana knew Hanumana was cursed by the rishis that you will forget your supernatural power till somebody reminds you. Now the time came that supernatural power should have to be manifested for the service of the Lord Rama. So he reminded him and then slowly became that powerful. Now this is the power when we see that manifesting as Hanumana. And you say that next yuga also he was there. It is possible, in those days, Krishna himself lived 120 years. And when Krishna was in the war, he was 88 years old. And he was driving the chariot and doing all those things. 88 years old person. Can you imagine? Now for us, we may think, oh my God, it is not possible. But in those days, it was possible. Life that was really long life they used to live. The Krishna at the age of 120, then even people are telling, please help us. 120. Usually at the age of 120, some people still living 120, but all are helping that person. Somehow he is surviving. The Krishna was strong. And he said, no, it is enough. I like to give up my body. So obviously it is possible the Hanumana, being a yogi, he was having that power. And he could survive. Thank you. Any related question? Or we'll say Shanti and conclude. You know that every Saturday afternoon, 4 to 5, we have some program in our Home of Harmony. Please come to visit our Home of Harmony. It is in Chicago, and from here 40 minutes drive, I think. And it is in Irving Park, a locality. And today, one ISKCON monk is coming, and he will be giving the idea of every Saturday, different religious people, they come and they represent. So that I will go over there this evening. If you are there, you're interested, you can come. It's a beautiful place. So let us say Shanti and we conclude. Om Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Harihi Om Tat Sat.